podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of Cardcaptor Sakura, Sharon, and Friends is a popular ongoing fanfic by Wishlove, and it's based off of Clamp's Cardcaptor Sakura. Usually we do a deep dive of a new chapter, but we're continuing our three-part series of Q&A with Wish-chan, and this is the last part, which we are affectionately calling it Third Host Questions.
Woohoo!
First, we're going to jump into Alliance of the Stars. So I'll get started. First, I would like to highlight Messel, who on Sakura's birthday shared a super cute comic. She wrote on the New Trials Facebook page, "For Sakura's birthday, I made this silly comic based on a small discussion point from the New Trials podcast. Either Melanie or Priya mentioned that Sakura calls Yukito by his last name in one of the early chapters, but it only happens once. So this is my in-story explaining it." And it's an adorable little comic of Sakura's like, yeah, I'm going to tell him by his last name. But then Yue's eyes tell a different story and it puts her in place. So thank you so much, Messel, for taking the time to just give a little backstory of a little discussion point that we brought up.
Oh my God, that made my whole day. It's so gosh darn funny. It was so cute.
And Catherine Warren Taylor, she commented, "I loved the podcast episode with Wish-chan's answers. Thank you so much for answering my questions. I loved hearing you two I loved hearing you two fangirling during the questions, especially my own. Haha. Thanks to you both, as well as Wish-chan, for taking the time."
Yeah, I couldn't help but keeping our little fangirling in there while I was editing because we were just too dang cute.
Yeah, in retrospect, I'm really glad you did because, we'll flub and we'll make mistakes and Melanie will kindly edit it out, but this was just too precious not to keep.
And then next up, we have Cheryl Barrow, and she sent me a message on Instagram. And basically she said, "Huge smiles listening to Wish-chan's Q&A. Thanks so much for putting it together and so grateful to Wish-chan for taking the time to answer. What an absolute treat. I have a question for both Melanie and Priya. What character in NT do you relate to back when you started reading NT, and what character do you most relate to now?"
So first of all, thank you so much for your comment and your question, Cherubero. We really appreciate it. And Melanie, she sent me this question as soon as you sent it. So I had some time to think. And even though sometimes in TV shows I'd be like, oh, I totally relate to that character. And it's like with New Trials, I'm just so sucked in that I love the characters. I don't even see myself in it. But really thinking about the question, I have to answer, I believe that I'm the Tomoyo because the moment I read New Trials, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. What can I do to really make this fanfic blossom? So Dynasty, she used to upload the chapters on fanfiction.net and then she stopped. So the first thing I did was write to Wish-chan and say, can I upload your chapters on fanfiction.net? And I didn't stop there. I did the chapter summary project. I collected all the artwork on DeviantArt with Maria for the New Trials picture book. I've done cosplay, spin-off fanfic, fan art. So if anything, I really feel like I'm the Tomoyo, and so the same way as soon as Tomoyo discovered that Sakura was Cardcaptor Sakura, she's like, okay, I'm gonna videotape everything. I'm gonna make costumes. I'm gonna be your biggest cheerleader. So to answer your question, I think Tomoyo would be the best answer. And strangely enough, I've never cosplayed as her, but I think that's gonna be the character that I relate to the most.
And you know what? And Priya is honestly like one of the most best friends ever, like Tameo. Like I can just send her the most random crap and she will always just like laugh with me or send me the most encouraging things. Like when I burnt my Christmas cookies, she was so sweet to me. And I mean, you really are like Tameo. Like I can come to you with absolutely everything and anything, and I know you'll be my biggest cheerleader. And, even like down to today when I posted like Shane Dawson just uploaded like a new YouTube video and I was like, no one's probably going to care. And then my Priya came through and was like, I love Shane Dawson too. He's the best. And I was like, oh, I love this girl so much. Let's see. As far as me, I feel like I'm kind of a mix between Sakura and Tameo. I'm Tameo in a way of most definitely in high school, I was kind of seen as an ice queen, kind of, especially towards the end of my high school career when I started modeling. After being made fun of for like years and years and years in school, I just didn't want I didn't want anything to do with any of the boys that used to like make fun of me in school. And so once I started modeling and I gained confidence, I just kind of turned into this ice queen. And everyone except my friends were like, you were super hard to approach in high school. Like everyone just thought like I was just like, I just had no emotion. And they were like, you're so intimidating. You're so intimidating until we start talking to you. And then you're like the nicest person ever. But so I'm kind of like Tameo in that regard a little bit. Also in the fact where I did choir and kind of stuff like that. But personality wise, I would say I'm most definitely Sakura Chan. Like I am fiercely loyal to my friends, like to a fault. Like I will go to battle for someone I love. Like you don't even have to even give me reasoning or answers. If you tell me to show up somewhere at a certain time to go to battle for you, I 100% will. Like I will have your back no matter what. And I'm also like ditzy in a way, but yet I'm able to kind of step up when I need to. And I can just become like this fierce powerhouse of a woman. So anyways, that's kind of a long-winded response, but I think I'm definitely in between, but I feel like I most definitely lean towards Sakura.
That's a great answer. I totally see it.
And then next up, Carolina commented on our Q&A. And so on part 1, she commented, I love the first part of the Q&A. I found it very interesting to know Wish Chan's point of view about her own creation and how the inspiration came from her. Honestly, I don't think she has any reason to be ashamed of Arc 1 since she did a great job and she was so, so young. It's amazing. 100% agree.
Yes. Thank you so much for the comment.
Yes. And then she also commented on part 2 and she said, oh my God, epic tragedy. I think I'm drooling. Insert macabre laugh. I'm beyond thrilled. Thank you so much for answering my questions. By the way, I totally understand Wish Chan's perspective as I also share a taste for dark, tragic plots. Without a doubt, the best couple is Nadesco and Ryuren. Their unintended love is both painful and endearing. It would be unfair to blame him for the choices he finally made. By the way, girls, at minute 21:55, I got as excited as you. All those little hints about the continuation of NT seriously lifted my spirits, and the meeting between Sakura and Ryuren also broke my heart. It is an unexpected moment, completely overwhelming. I know you girls will be able to recreate it successfully. All the questions asked were excellent. You girls do great. You are truly amazing. I went too long. Lastly, I also love Ryuren, second on my list. He is that tragic, charming, cool-minded character that every story needs.
What a great, great, great comment. Thank
Aw.
you so much. We love your feedback.
Yes, it's so we always love hearing from you. Aw. I knew you would like the fact that she brought up tragedy too. I even said, I was like, Carolina's probably smiling so big right now.
Okay, now without further ado, we are going to jump into the third host questions. This was inspired because one of Wish Jen's first comments was like, oh, I wish I could jump in the conversation with you. So this is just our way of letting her say her piece in the questions we've discussed.
Hmm.
Okay, let's get started. Question number one. Did you do any extracurriculars in high school? Wish and answers, Model United Nations. If I couldn't be a writer, I wanted to be the Secretary General of the UN. Fun fact, Kaiju Magician's criminal number 00603 is taken from my code name for my 3-day MUN crush in high school. He called me Babyface. He was older. Sigh. I
Oh
knew
my
that
gem.
story. She's
You
mentioned
did?
it yeah. She's mentioned it before. I don't know if it's specifically like the UN connection, but she did say that she was on a trip and that was his room number and that was like her little crush.
Ah. Did you do model nations or anything?
No, I don't even remember that being offered, but no, no, I don't think so. Which, funny enough, that my brother, he kind of did that, I think. No, I know, I can't even remember it being offered in our curriculum.
I don't think it was offered at my school
Mm,
either.
yeah, but we see it on all TV all the time. Like, what's that called? Never Have I Ever.
Oh, yes. Which is an excellent TV show on Netflix that also Priya and I watch. Highly recommend. So, question two is, when did you get your first cell phone? And Wish Chan answered, eighth grade.
Mm.
And then question number three was, have you ever seen a ghost? And Wish Chan answered, I apparently lived in a super haunted dormitory in college, and a bunch of my friends had ghost sightings, but I never had a supernatural experience. I'm rather practical, so I don't tend to believe in ghosts, though I do believe some things can't be answered. I did used to get frequent sleep paralysis, though, in the past, and they say that's when a ghost is sitting on top of you. But I never really saw anything. Though one night, some years ago, I woke up with sleep paralysis and I felt/saw this image of this screaming creature coming from the direction of my window. I live near a lake, you see, and the aura/energy felt like it was coming from that vicinity. The next morning, I learned that the body of a young man who went missing in the neighborhood was found by police in the lake.
Christian, that's creepy.
Ooh, that's super creepy. Sleep paralysis is no joke. Like, I suffer from it very newly so. And yeah, like, I will imagine that I see people in my room and I will actually think there's like someone or like a ghost or something in there, and I like dash out of bed. It's scary. It's so scary.
Mm. Question number four. Have you ever been on an overnight field trip? Jan says multiple ones, but the first time in fifth grade. Actually, a camping site right behind graveyards. First time roasting s'mores around the campfire and all. Oh, that reminds me of her like chapter 4 camping trip chapter.
100%. And then question five, have you ever woke up on purpose to see the sunrise? And Wish Chan answered, rather, I never went to bed in the first place, being the night owl that I am. I remember one vivid sunrise in college after pulling an all-nighter and looking out my dorm window into the distant mountains to see the sunrise.
I Jen. I'm not surprised at all. Question number 6. Do you know about your family history and how far back it goes? Wishan answers, unfortunately, not far back, only to grandparents, coming from a war-torn country and all. All my grandparents, except my maternal grandmother, died before I was born, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel that. And the next question was, did you ever play an instrument in school? And Wish Chan answered, nope, I'm the most musically untalented person in the world. I was in choir in a few school musical productions, though, in my school days. Hence, I admire musically talented people.
Oh, well, even though she wasn't like musically talented per se, I'm really glad that she gets to write about violins and new trials.
Yes. Yeah, you can definitely feel her love for music through the thick, for sure.
Oh yeah, and all her blog posts always come with like a music recommendation, so it's very important in her life. Do you have any stories where you had to reject someone? Which Jen answers, I'm horrible at rejections, so I sort of avoid the person instead of giving them a direct answer because I hate hurting people's feelings. Two of the guys sent me a wedding invitations like years later of not communicating. Now that I think about it, who does that? I had a stalker in college once too, and I hid in my closet while my best friend sort of shooed the person away, if that counts. Where's Jen? That was actually a scary experience now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Girl, glad you had your friend there.
Also, the gall to invite you to their wedding.
It's like FII. It's like, oh my gosh. I like how Wish Chan decides to ghost.
No wonder SNS haven't confessed. I'm just joking. I'm kidding. I love you.
uh,
And then actually, Cheryl Barrow, actually, we posed these same questions to a lot of our listeners just to see if anyone would like to answer. And Cheryl Barrow kindly shared an experience as well. And she said, I have a quip to share. I had to reject a guy who liked me in senior year of high school. He had openly declared it like some TV drama. And at first, I thought it was cute and sweet because he was a nice person. But then I realized I didn't have similar feelings for him. It was my first time rejecting someone, and I felt so bad even thinking about having the talk that I stalled for weeks and then felt so guilty about stringing him along that I got physically ill. I was fully in my head, making him out to be the second male lead who gets unrightfully dumped and sympathizing with this internal dialogue. Finally, told him I was not interested a month later, and everyone came away unscathed. That's when I learned that life is not a Korean drama.
Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. Wow. It's like the
As a
amount of the amount of people who wish their lives are a K-drama, it's not cracked up. It's not cracked up to speak.
as a Korean drama lover, oh my god, that's so funny to me. I'm really glad I didn't discover Korean dramas until after high school because I guarantee 100% I would have done the same thing. Oh, so funny. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, next question. Did you ever participate in a concert or recital? Wisha answers, yes. Used to be in the choir from elementary school to middle school, until I realized I hate being on stage. I feel you, Wishen. I feel you.
Then the next question is, what's your favorite Christmas memory? And Wish Chan answered, singing fa la 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 at the top of my lungs in a parking lot area in New York during Christmas season with my best friends thinking nobody was there. Embodying seeing like no one's listening and just being 21. But I turned around and there was a whole bunch of prim and proper ladies and gentlemen in suits out for the evening and just staring, and my trader friends laughing at me. This is really no place quite like NYC for Christmas.
That's okay, Wishen. You're young. You can get away with it. I love that.
And as a used to be New Yorker, people like will look at you weird for a second and they just keep going on with their day.
Because trust me, there's going to be something weirder just around the corner.
Oh yes, 100%.
Next question. Have you ever been to a winter-themed dance or event? She replies, yes, I actually finally went to a winter ball in college. Not only did I attend, but I won the contest for the Winter Carnival poster and t-shirt design. Hence, I got free tickets. Yay!
Not surprised because of how talented of a drawer you are, an artist. And then the next one is, do you have any airport stories or airplane stories? And Wish Chan answered, boy, do I have a lot. But to keep things NT related, fun fact, but back in my high school and college days, I used to write a lot of responses to backlogged emails from airports before takeoff ahead of summer or winter vacation travels. In more recent years, I wrote a witness testimony for a flight attendant who was being harassed by a raging passenger who was furious she couldn't serve him ramen.
Oh my God. Man, it's like props to those flight attendants. Ever since things opened up post-pandemic, it's the amount of complaints and rage issues and all that stuff has skyrocketed. Like I don't know the stats, but it's so much worse now than it's ever been.
It's crazy. I used to think that's maybe something I would like to do before I figured out as a very tall person that's probably not the best thing for me to do. But besides that point, just, you're a server, you're a babysitter, you're a maid, you're all these hats and you get treated like absolute crap most of the time. But unlucky of this guy that she had a literal journalist witnessing this whole thing and the journalist would like write out a testimony. That's karma.
Next question. What's your connection to New York? I was born there and worked there for several years too. Wow.
I wonder if you have a dual citizenship, Wish Chan.
And here I was like, oh, which Jen's from South Korea? And it was like, I recently met a new Child's fan in real life, Maya. And I was just saying, yeah, she's from South Korea. And then Maya, who loves K-dramas, is like, what? She's from South Korea? That's so amazing. Wow, I didn't know Wish Chan was born in New York. That's very cool.
Mm. Makes sense, though. It makes so much sense now.
Oh, yeah, very cool.
And then the next question was, have you ever met a famous person? And Wish Chan answered, several. I was once in the same elevator as Kim Jae Jun, if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, guys. And of JYJ slash TVXQ OG K-pop fame. The right next to him. And I didn't recognize him until a coworker told me it was him after he got off. Lesson of the story, even if I meet a famous person consistently ranked as one of the most handsome faces and stand right next to that person, I wouldn't recognize him.
No, it's actually the last question. What's your favorite New Year's Eve memory? Wish Chan says Y2K. Perhaps not my favorite, but most memorable. I was in California with family and family friends, and the sun rose over the ocean, and the world didn't end as we herald the new millennium. Going back to the earlier question about any memorable sunrises. Oh my gosh. Everybody thought that the computers were going to crash, the world was going to end, it's the Y2K bug.
I like vaguely remember that because I'm an 88 baby. So I sort of remember like the whole like discussion and talks of it, but yeah, but oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I was 16 at the time, or at least turning 16 at the time. So yeah, this is quite fresh. And we've never, like, I think the next time we would experience something like that is when the Aztec or the Mayan calendar was going to end. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, it's the end of the world. And then the next day is like business as usual.
So I have a story about that real quick. Do we have time?
Yeah.
Okay. So, that whole thing was like, oh, the world's going to end on like, what was it? Like December 22nd, 2012 or whatever it was. And so, I thought it was like BS. I was like, this is whatever. And at the time, Pete and I had our own apartment in Overland Park, which is like a suburb of Kansas City. And then my mom kind of lives in like a smaller town kind of in South Kansas City. So I was kind of splitting my time kind of in between. And so on that night, I had mostly kind of hung out with my mom and brother at her house. And then I was like, oh, I need to get back to the apartment. I need to go let the dog out, blah, blah, blah. And where my mom lives, it's kind of like more on like the countryside. And so in order to get back to my apartment, I had to take all these like back dark lit country roads in order to get back on the main highway to go back to my apartment. As I'm driving on this little country road, I see this light in the distance. And I think like there's a lot of farmers and stuff out here. So I thought maybe a farmer had like a columbine or something weird that had like a spotlight on the top. And I was like, that's super bright and really weird, but whatever. I kept driving. And the more I drove to it, I was like, this light isn't getting any, it's like staying the same. It's just kind of sitting there. And it was so weird. And guys, you can think I'm crazy all you want. You're welcome to. But when I got up close to this light, I swear to God, I saw a UFO. You can think I'm crazy. You're welcome to. But I saw this huge thing in the sky and it was just hovering there and it wasn't moving. And it was one of those things where I was so terrified that my mind just completely went blank. Like, I love this kind of stuff. And all my life, I told myself, I'm not going to be one of those people that just like drive off. I'm going to get out my phone and take a video and go talk to them and blah, 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 blah. No, I was petrified in terror. Like, I don't remember. I honestly feel like 10 minutes of my life just vanished. Like, I don't remember anything. All I remember is all of a sudden I'm back on the highway and driving back to the apartment. And all I could think of after this experience is, oh my God, the world is going to end. There's lizard people in that UFO and they're going to come and eat us and we're done for.
That is wild. That is absolutely wild. And you know what? We can't be the only people here in this universe.
100% not. But oh, I was convinced. I still am convinced that I saw something that night. But the fact it had to be that night out of all nights, like, anyway, that's my UFO story. You're welcome, everyone.
Bonus story time for Melanie. Love it. So that wraps up our show. Thank you so much for joining us for our Arc 1 of the podcast episodes and for this special Q&A series. So Melanie and I, we're going to be taking a brief hiatus so that she can concentrate on not only recording, but editing the chapters for Arc 2. So when we're going to come back, we'll definitely let you guys know. So enjoy your time off, catch up on your favorite reality TV shows, like what we're going to do.
Woohoo!
So you've been listening to New Trials, the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out the finished Arc 1 version of this fan fiction that you can find anywhere that you can find this podcast. Also, please be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for New Trials, where a big part of the discussions happen nowadays. And if you have any chapter-specific questions coming up for Arc 2, feel free to email us at ntthepod@gmail.com. I know you guys are all so excited to talk about Kai as much as we are. And we will see you next time.